So the briefing video for the meeting on Tuesday, different, and employee just corrected me earlier this week. That's on Tuesday, the 12th of November, 2024 at 6 p.m. Obviously, we just went through an election. So in the near future, I won't be the supervisor and won't be running meetings. This could be the last one, depending on swearing times, could also be the one in December. So we have fairly normal opening to the meeting. Couple of things to mention here. We may have a couple of additions to the agenda, and I'll hit on those as we go through this. That just came through today. And then there's also a potential new firefighter ceremony for swearing in. So, which is always good if they're able to make it. Falling on Tuesday is a little bit of a change, and I didn't even realize that until this week as well, because of Veterans Day being on Mondays is why that shifted. Was approved by the board at the beginning of the year as part of the schedule. So if not, then it'll just get pushed till next month. Probably not a huge deal. So, but otherwise, fairly normal opening with various reports and that sort of thing. After our first public comments, we have item number 1, logo submissions. So we ended up with 2 logo submissions. They're included in here in the packets, posted online. And you can take a look and we'll see. The board could choose one of those to move forward with. The board could ask for adjustments to them. The board could choose not to do a new logo. The board could ask for further submissions, any direction on that, but it's in here. Next, we have the PLM Lake Reports and Westlake contract. Now, these are staggered out over the years, and so the contract that's up right now is Westlake. I've included the reports for the other 3 lakes on PLM's estimate of cost, the things they use in the lakes for the weed treatments and that type of thing. So the board could choose to do a contract with PLM for 1 year for Westlake, 4 or 5 years, or could choose not to move on it now and look at those other options. We've done a few rounds on it, but I haven't come to any solid conclusions yet this year. Next, we have financial oversight and reporting contract. We've been talking about this a while, which this is the changing of officials, potential problems, variety of things to try to handle no matter how it goes, right? Exactly. And so the one I have in here is Manor Castersan, and they are the ones that are sorting out our finances so that we can finally do the audit for this year. And there's been a lot to sort out. We've paid them a decent chunk of change, and I think we're a little surprised at how messed up it was, right? So, but they're sorting that out. They wouldn't quote it before they were able to get through a decent amount of that. And so now they've quoted it, and they think that they could do a report to the board on whether the clerk is doing their job with finances or not in 2 to 3 hours a month. Now, those are not cheap hours, right? It's in there, it's 200 and something per hour, 235 per hour, I think it is. So not too bad. They've also said that they would do training, and they estimate that really high in here. And I questioned that, like 40 to 60 hours or something total, but they said, hey, if it's 10 hours, then we'll obviously just charge you for the build time, but that's in here. There's one of the potential additions or one of the things that just came in today. So we also have a letter from Erickson, which is working in North Muskegon and previously worked in Norton Shores, that does a bunch of the payroll finances, different types of accounting stuff. And she has a lower quote, I think $75 per hour. The letter is not in the packet because the packet went out yesterday, and I got that letter today. But I have printed them off and put them with the board packets so the board can review it, pick those up and look through them. And this is more oriented towards the education or helping out stuff. So potentially we could combine those, have the one CPA for reporting to the board, the other individual helping with the training side at a lower rate. So that's an option there. Next, we have the ARPA Resolution 2024-23 and road contract. So the reason this is coming up again is because we previously contractually obligated all of our ARPA funds for projects to be completed this year. We did that contract last year with the road commission. Those came in under budget, and interest has continued to accumulate since we are just recently paying. In our bills report, so our bills report is large. And one of the bills is $363,000 for a road project. And because it came in a decent amount under the budget, And then we have, even though all the projects were completed, we have funds left in there. So, and I think I said in here 64,000. I think now it's 65,000 that we have left. So I had the road commission draw up a contract, which is kind of general, right? They're going to do road work for $70,000 contributed by the township, because the road commission also wants to continue to do projects, because they can choose somewhat. They have a range of what percentage they want to contribute, but they have it matching on that, right? And so that's a way I've been able to work with the road commission over the last few years, stretch those dollars, do more projects if they're fully matching. And so $140,000 worth of projects for next year. Now, it'd be my hope that the board look at more in the future and obligate more than that, another $130,000, something like that from the township, and stretch that out. So get more road work done. But this has to be in place because it has to be contractually obligated by the end of this year. So by the end of December going into next year, as part of the whole ARPA funds thing. So it shouldn't have come up again if all the funds were used for road projects as previously thought. I also asked the road commission to draw it up. It's just like any leftover road fund or ARPA funds, but they didn't want to draw it up that way. They like to just have a number. So it's just drawn up at $70,000, which is a little ways, should be enough above that 65,000. That should be fine, even if a little more interest accumulates. In the resolution, I also put just all remaining ARPA funds. Next, we have Canton Brock Special Assessment Maintenance Resolution 2024-25. So this is private road that there's a special assessment on. The money goes through the township. Then we contract with the road commission to do work on that road. Obviously, controversial thing, this Cat Brock and Johnston was done a number of years ago as part of a petition process by citizens on the road to get these going. And then they had expired, and then they were renewed. And the road commission doesn't like doing them, so they try to keep the numbers decently low so that they don't get too many complaints. But because they keep the numbers decently low, then there's not too much work done on the roads, and then you get complaints anyway. You get complaints on roads no matter what you do. Complaints are almost irrelevant, which is ironic. But nevertheless, that is planned at a certain rate for a number of years out, right? So I think next year ends up being the last year that it's just at a normal plan for rate. And that's what's included in here, is the normal plan for rate. The next item is saying Johnston Special Assessment Maintenance Resolution 2024-26, which is a section of Johnston, which is a county road, and there's a section that is private. And it's illegal for the county or the township to spend money on private roads, just of their own accord, to take tax dollars and spend it on private roads. So something like this has to be in place as a special assessment. It's messy. Maybe you should have nixed it. Nevertheless. All right. Next, we have Metro Act Authorization Resolution 2024-24. This is an odd one. And this packet, I think, is 139 pages before the 3 pages of additional information that I've thrown on top for the trustees. A lot of it is to do with 2 items, this being one of them, the other one being a site conduct resolution. And it's annoying that it has to be in here. I wasn't sure on this. I know there's a deadline on this. It's about putting communication cables in the ground. Maps are in the packet and everything if people want to look at them. I haven't read through the entire permit myself yet, so because it's not small. I reached out to the lawyer because I wasn't sure. I didn't want to get us into a pickle and into a bad situation. So they wrote up a legal opinion on this. Essentially, it's a weird place because we don't really, the township doesn't really have grounds or the authority to reject it. So the board has to approve it, but we still have a vote on it. So it's one of those odd things where there used to be more authority at a more local level. Nevertheless, I included all the information in there so everyone can see how much they want to see on there. But that's what that's about. Next, we have the Russell land sale request. This was originally part of the large number of parcels requested, and it was the 2.53 acres that was sliced out because someone had requested it. The developer said that they would acquiesce to that, right, that they would be fine with it. But then that person didn't get their financing in order and stuff, didn't go through the full request process for it. So now I said, start back at step 1 with the developer to go through for these 2.53 acres. It was originally supposed to be with all those parcels, which that transaction has not finalized because there's 3 parcels that the title company won't clear because up in that area below the village where there's just tons of parcels. There's the old thing where if you bought a newspaper subscription in Chicago, you get a piece of land in Dalton. So that area, which is all this hodgepodge mess to take care of. Next, we have the Site Condo Resolution 2024-27. And so this is for the duplex condos planned for on Whitehall Road in Agard, just south of Agard, just south of that business park. This has gone through the process through the Planning Commission, so now it's coming to the board. A couple of concerns were raised at the Planning Commission meeting about like setbacks and having fencing, that type of thing. It was brought up that they're not getting any special setbacks, so it's fine. Essentially, they could do it the way that they want now. I think there's a slight adjustment to the lot size, and then they're working on putting in private roads there as well. And so that's why it's coming to the board. A couple of things there. Next, we have Catawba land sale request, and this is one of the other additions. So there's 5 small parcels included on this. It's on Little Catawba Road, up by Catawba Lake, branching off that. That's why I termed it like that. So we have a term to go with instead of just the parcel numbers, right? Because there's not an actual address. And so the woman that had requested this to be for sale has also requested another set of a larger area up near that same region. And so, but that just came in today. And so I also made another map for that and set a note for the board, and it told her the board can decide to move forward on step 1 on this process. Both of them would be step 1, or decide to push that one off till the next meeting to begin that one. So you see the smaller one in here with just a few parcels, and then there's the larger one that may or may not end up on the agenda. Next, we have the Berry Junction Trail Commission member. So obviously I'm leaving office, so I won't be on there. And then I'm teaching a couple of classes for the college, and that conflicts with this time frame anyway, so it makes sense to do it now. And looks like Heather's won, barring any kind of massive issue. And so it's just drawn up to appoint her to that commission. And it's an interesting structure, right? With the different municipalities being represented on there. Nevertheless, makes sense to switch that over. I have a couple of boxes if anyone wants to go through bike trail stuff. Next, the other thing that may be added here is procedures around some of the financial processes, going into the same idea with the issues with the clerk's office, not knowing if the previous clerk is coming back, in which case the organization will probably have significant issues. So because we haven't recovered from the last issues, right? From what I understand, North Muskegon hasn't recovered from their issues from her before. So there's that. Or if we have someone else come in, someone new, they're going to have to go through a major learning curve and whatnot too. So Christy and Heather are looking at some of the procedures, seeing if maybe they want to change something in there. They don't have it together as of yet. If they do put it together, it may be added to this agenda to consider. Obviously, could be considered in December as well. Next, we have discussion items. I have meeting and closing dates. I just used the ones from this, technically this current year, but this almost past year as an example. The board can vote on it in December, going into the new year on what are going to be the meeting and closing dates in 2025. You know, there's usually a little debate over if holidays should be added or subtracted, that type of thing. I think we have a decent number as it goes now. So I wanted to have that as a discussion before voting next month. So decent schedule there, decent size. Pat, if anyone has any questions about today's comments, concerns, obviously feel free to reach out. I did include a reference packet this month. And so what I have in here is 5 informational items technically. The first one is Polarization in America, Survey of Local Government. So this is done by 2 organizations, one called Civic Pulse, the other one, the Carnegie Corporation of New York, and giving a survey of local government views on things. Next, the next 3 are from the University of Michigan. They have an organization there that does surveys. The Michigan Public Policy Survey from the Gerald R. Ford School of Public Policy as part of the Center for Local, State, and Urban Policy. And they have a few interesting items. It's Michigan local government and law enforcement leaders' initial opinions of Michigan's new red flag law. Michigan local government's report increased challenges with law enforcement recruitment and retention. Michigan local government leaders' concerns about the health of democracy edge upward, including at local level. So these are from the last 3 months. I didn't include them as reference packets on their own because they're decently small. You can get them publicly, but it's just useful information for people to see if they're interested in that thing. And then finally, I have Washington's farewell address. And George Washington's farewell address, very interesting, excellent lessons. I haven't read it probably in a couple of years, and I probably always appropriate as, as a reference thing. So wanted to include that, and it fits well with the context of me leaving office also. So if anyone has any questions, thoughts, ideas, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out about the packets, the meetings, the transition, anything. Direct line at the office, area code 231-332-6700, or email supervisor@daltontownship.org. Otherwise, this is Jeff Martin signing off until next time.